Hello, my name is Betsy Camara, and I'm a second-year MPH student studying maternal and child health. This past year, I had the opportunity to work with South Tucson Housing Authority. Here I present my experience and findings from working with STHA through the implementation of a resident advisory board to promote community engagement and empowerment among public housing residents. The city of South Tucson is a 1.2 square mile pueblo within a city located just south of downtown Tucson. STHA is located in the northeast corner of the city, highlighted in green. STHA is a low-income public housing authority that operates within the city limits of South Tucson. All residents at STHA are either at or below the federal poverty line, and most are receiving some sort of government assistance. STHA is a place of stability and refuge for residents to focus on other aspects of their life while ensuring a safe place to live. The goal of this internship experience was to help STHA build an effective resident advisory board, or RAB, to improve communication among staff and residents, empower residents to create change in their community, and to build a sense of community at STHA. We also knew that there were inherent and known challenges that we would have to overcome to succeed. High turnover rates of staff, inadequate resources, and insufficient capacity have complicated the relationship between staff and residents. Resident engagement and community building are extremely hard to foster due to the inherent and deep-rooted mistrust in the system and the wider community. These variables have created a vulnerable and disenfranchised community. Due to the inherent challenges, we wanted to ensure that RAB was set up intentionally and that we would start to build trust among residents. The first step was to get to know and understand STHA, the residents, and the community. I then conducted a literature review and researched best practices. Next, we identified and recruited RAB members and facilitated monthly RAB meetings. And through this process, I began to develop a training guide for RAB. Ultimately, we hope to empower and strengthen resident involvement and to strengthen communication skills. So what is a RAB? Every housing authority is required by the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, or HUD, to host and organize a RAB to inform decision-making and program development. The overarching goals of the RAB were to act as a liaison between the resident and staff to help make decisions and to inform strategic planning, and to work within the RAB to become empowered to create change in their living environments. The purpose of the literature review was to determine what evidence-based practices successfully implemented a RAB and achieved improved resident engagement and empowerment. So what does the literature say? The RAB should consist between 8 to 15 members, and it should create a strategic plan, and it should be inclusive of multicultural and racial dynamics. STHA should also incorporate RAB into the decision-making process. Ultimately, the RAB should engage other residents to create an inclusive space with open dialogue and communication. The goal of the RAB was to meet every second Tuesday of the month. We introduced the idea of the RAB in a large all-resident meeting, and interested individuals signed up to participate. We had our first RAB meeting in November and met monthly afterward. Due to some internal conflict and struggles, the meeting had to be canceled in March, and a new and improved approach is being planned. After much thought, conversation, and brainstorming, the RAB was ultimately unsuccessful in its attempts to empower and engage residents. Our overall attempts to form this group were ultimately derailed by the severe and debilitating mistrust of the system, constantly leading residents to default to an us versus them mentality at no fault of their own. We as staff failed to recognize and build this trust in the initial stages of RAB development. We also did not recognize that residents are in a form of survival mode. In retrospect, an analysis of Maslow's hierarchy of needs and the importance of addressing the basic physiological and safety needs of the residents is essential to program success. Overall, looking forward to the future of the RAB development project, I have a few recommendations. First, it is essential to build trust among staff, residents, and community partners by addressing the physiological and safety needs previously mentioned, and by bringing in a social worker and our mediation services to focus on trauma-informed care. Second, specific activities related to trust building exercises between residents themselves and between residents and staff should be a top priority. While this internship did not accomplish the initial goals and meet all the objectives of the project, we learned a lot about the steps necessary to empower and encourage resident participation and are hopeful for the future of the program. I would like to thank everyone who helped, guided, mentored, and advised me throughout this internship process. Special thanks to the South Tucson Housing Authority team, Betty, Maria, Cecilia, and Rachel. I'd like to especially thank Kenneth Kokro, who was a huge help in not only helping to lead and plan the RAB meetings, but as a mentor and a resource helping to problem solve throughout the project. Thank you to all the participant residents, of the STHA RAB, and I would especially like to thank the Western Regional Public Health Training Center for funding this project. Finally, thank you to my internship chair, Professor Martha Moore-Monroy, for your support in this internship process. Thank you for listening, and please reach out with any comments or questions.